for providing us the opportunity to enjoy this. I also want to thank Professor Yuna Delovich and to Project Game for organizing this conference and for gathering us all the new colleagues and friends. Last but not least, I thank you all for being here and for attending the previous, this one, and the following session. As the title, we Roman thought on dreaming and pre-cognitive dreams, paying special attention to Cicero's De Divinazione, one of the most influential writings about the nature through dreams of the Roman era. Analyzing one example of prophetic dreams in antiquity, are argued that our 21st century knowledge on dream content and dream functions is not advanced from ancient interpretations and hypotheses as much as one might expect. This is in accordance with trends in classical logic because from the beginning of the 21st century, dreams have again become interesting for scholars of antiquity. And you can see some names and years. The ancients were fascinated by the supernatural phenomena, and the ontological thinking can be traced back to Mesopotamia and Egypt. Thus, it's not surprising that there is a vast amount of material on dreams and dreaming in the Greco-Roman world. Greek tradition generally agrees in making still the god of dreams in common. Let us look at the 20 also verses from the first book of Iliad. So, for much more convenient to say it in English translation. As you can see, Homer is telling us that Jupiter or Zeus is the god of dreams, and that there are some inhibitors of these also. Later, the god Hermes Zeus and added to his numerous other titles than of the god of dreams. Theseus called dreams the children of night, and Euripides dreams are children of day. By the Pythagoreans, all dreams are not regarded as having the same standing. The true dreams are those of the morning and of the first watch, because food preserves dreams. There are also several portions indicated, such as not sleeping upon one's back or upon one's right side, for fear of compressing the reserve. There is even a version given by Plutarch of the origin of the Pythagorean superstition dreams, because of their restriction to upon days. The pioneer of the Greek analytical tradition was certainly Antiphon, who in the 1st century BC wrote the treatise Periclisos on Aeon, of which unfortunately only a few fragments survive. There is a controversy over whether the specific works of Antiphon and the treatise on the interpretation of dreams were also written by Antiphon the orator, or whether they were written by a separate man known as Antiphon himself. His dream book was probably not much more than a compilation of dream images and their corresponding meanings, following the example of traditional onirifical tablets, Hymakia onirifica. At the same time, he's taking over principle already well known in Egyptian and Assyro-Babylonian onirifical tradition, according to which the meaning of a given dream image varies depending on the gender, age, social rank, and profession of the recipient. On this slide, we can see the sentence from Theodore Melancthus, which gives us a hint about Antiphon's theory of practice. It says, if the right eyes upper eyelid twitches, it means at all events fresh gay. However, according to Antiphon, it means that he can help. Evil plotting for the slave and right for the widow. The Greek philosopher Plato also has his thoughts on dreams in predicting the future by dreaming. In Superstition, he places dreams alongside divination, priestcraft, soothsaying, and so under the command of the demand for the morning, as a principle midway between the divine and the human. In March, as you can see on this slide. Plato introduces a theory of delineation between which the most important role is assigned to the desiring part of the soul. It himself is located in the liver, which by means of its smooth and shiny surface serves as a mirror to reflect certain thoughts proceeding from the brain in the shape of images. He says, if passion is dense, it means kilos. Passion is dense, it moves with light and sweet, and yet containing bitterness, and the power of thoughts which proceed from the mind, moving in the liver as a mirror, which receives impressions and provides visible images. To frighten this part of the soul. For when the mental power bears down upon a certain depth, it uses the final portion of the liver's bitterness to make it strictly suffuse the whole liver, so that it exhibits village colors. The characteristic of the dreams of the liver is their highly symbolic character, which can be decoded only by skillful interpreter of dreams. But divination in this case, just like specialist apparently is conceived of as characterized by absolute unity. But incorporating this engagement of reason, we find some geometrically opposed remarks in the Republic. In this dialogue, Plato, once again starting from his doctrine of the figurative soul, there's various parts of the soul trigger responding to images. I will read your English translation and you will follow the Greek text. What desires do you need? He said. Those, said I, that are awakened in sleep when the rest of the soul, the rational, tranquil, dominant part slumbers. But the beastly and savage part, which gives you the food and wine, gambles and revealing sleep, endeavors to stand forth and satisfy the soul's instincts. You are aware that in such case, there is nothing it will not venture to undertake, is being released from all sense of shame and all reason. It does not shrink from attempting to lie with the mother, in fancy, or with anyone else, man, God, and good. It is ready for any fool, deed, or life. This abstains from no food, anyone else, no food in word, full short of no extreme of fully shame and shame. More true is that. But when I suppose a man's condition is healthy and sober, and he goes to sleep after erotic rational part, and entertaining his clear words and thoughts, entertaining clear self-consciousness, but he has neither starved nor indulged to the deficiencies of the affected part, so that it may sleep and not disturb the better part, and that can some of the things unknown with past, present, or future. And which has in like manner planned his special part, and does not after quarrel fall asleep with ever still awake within him, but which he has thus divided into two elements of his soul, and fitting the first, in which reason resides, and so goes with his rest. You are aware that in such case he is most likely to apprehend the truth. It's not English is not so good now you have it on your slide. Why the epsilon, especially when stimulated by means of excessive eating and drinking, is prone to generate all kinds of unlawful and monstrous images, the dreamer has a good chance to receive illuminating dreams if he roses his logisticon before going to sleep. When he has reached a state of clear self-consciousness, with his mind focused on the unknown, he might be granted moments of clairvoyance, which is the way of touching upon the truth, his ideas, appetite, completely different from the romantic fantasy referred to in the demise. Plato describes what might be revealed through such a analytical dream in terms of typical sphere knowledge as a fragment of what happened, or what is, or what will be. Thus, the power of prophetic insight is granted both to the dreams of the logisticon and the rational rectal visions of the liver. Obviously, the Greek philosophical and philosophical tradition and go further to the Roman times and finally come to Cicero. Cicero, as you all know, was a Roman statesman, lawyer, scholar, philosopher, whose extensive writings include treatises on literature, philosophy, politics, and politics, considered one of the Rome's greatest writers and Then first, he introduced into Latin grammars philosophy and created Latin vocabulary. One of the charges that there are most frequently being labeled as Cicero by contemporary readers is the supposed inability to work out and authentically original set of philosophy views. Such a conviction might be fostered by a number of factors. In the first place, Cicero himself declared that there are many through whom he yields presented knowledge of philosophy, of course, Plato, and that he could rather lay claim to the oracle's peculiar set of abilities. Also, he frequently echoed reminders with doctrine of thinkers like Plato, Aristotle, and Stoics, with his written works. He also led scholars to charting of minded eclecticism. Cicero's luminous corpus of writings allowed readers to trace the seeds of an authentically pioneering political theory, one that might give us insight into the network of key philosophical questions to which he seems to give time and place. Justice, justitia, equity, ethics, the nature of the Republica, and its most desirable internal creating the best regime, the role of natural law, and individual virtues associated with moral factors of the members of the Societas Humana. Here is the list of Cicero's philosophical works. So, there's no way. Maybe we can this order.
Oh, sorry.
Maybe this gone. Maybe before that. Yes. Here, where we can see that Cicero wrote the Relazione in 44, 44, 45, 45, 44. And now, so we are going further. Yeah. Cicero's Relazione is often not interpreted, carrying the reputation of being the least philosophical of all Cicero's dialogues. Despite its significance for the history and philosophy of science. Additionally, it was portrayed as Cicero's attack on Roman religion, but more recent scholarship is corrections this view. The Relazione is divided into two books. Today we will talk about only about first book. In the first book, the author tries to establish an argument for elimination, mostly appealing to examples of elimination. The second book, Marcus, the author himself, or rather the character, in the dialogue, attempts to undermine his brother's arguments. And now, you should see, but you don't see, on this slide, the old edition of this philosophical work. It is from our library, from our department classes, from our faculty of philosophy, and some of you may be fancy, but I think no. See that? It is from year 1590. Okay. Now you can see the beginning of this philosophical work. It says, there is an ancient belief handed down to us even from mythical times, firmly established by the general agreement of the Roman people and the whole nation, the divination of some kind exists among men. This is the Greek proverb again. That is foresight and knowledge of future events. We'll explain that how the thing is if only such patterns exist. Now, our Marcus, our character is going to develop this if only such patterns exist. Since by its means, man may approach very near to the power of gods. Now, in this different work, we find records of the last sources on neurology. For example, we see that Cicero used criticals, but maybe also antipodes, which treatises on dreams. He said, but doesn't see articles in type dreams. In his treatises on this subject, criticals, just as antipode was, he has examined the man's superior dreams, which he explains according to antipode rules of interpretation. We saw some of those rules. I will not read it all, but it is too long. After that, Yes. At the end of his account of dreaming and pre-cognitive dreams, he verified the above-mentioned passage of dreams from Plato's Republic. So I would like to ask you to give us Latin. Yes. Plato? Latin.
There.
I'll tell you. Just no. No. I don't know. Once more. No. Yes. So I will not go into details, but it would be interesting to see some details are not the same as in the original. So it was not just translation, but some kind of, how to say that, reading, pre-interpretation, yes, not really free, but interpretation, yes. Something between translation and interpretation. As you can see from English translation. It is not the same as it was Plato's Republic. It is similar. When a man goes to sleep, carrying the thinking reasoning portion of his soul, landed in image, but carrying that with other portion, which has a certain function with wise liberty, in order to go to the printed food, then does the latter portion pick up and throw itself about the sleep without time. In such a case, every vision presented to the mind is so devoid of thought and reason that the sleeper dreams that he is committing incidents with his mother, or that he is having all awful commerce with God's command and frequently do with this. Or even that he is killing someone, saying he stands with people's bloodshed. That he is doing many will and these things practically without shame. Without those two lines, he goes further, but in common cases, and the men whose habits of drinking and eating are wholesome and temperate, Planet himself complete, carrying the thinking and reasoning portion is so eager and arrogant, and satisfied with peace, noble thoughts, and carrying the great portion which feeds on carnal pleasures, neither fully exalted by actions nor void by over the bosom, or any rule, the average thought is ruled by the nature of or over bad. And when such a man, Vishnu has the third portion of soul, with the fire of anger burns, fighting with the fury, thus carrying the two rational portions under complete control, then will the thinking and reasoning portion of his soul shine forth and show itself clean and strong for dreaming, and then will his dream be peaceful and work of God. And at the end, he said, I can reproduce Plato's very words, not very words, but words. Okay? The meanwhile, between the reference to antiphon and the citation from Plato, these are a few examples of pre-Platonic beginnings from the Greek mythology and history, and also from the Roman past. At one point, Caesar cited the verses from the Drama Taxius, and those verses, the last king of the Romans, starting the crowd, talks about the dream in which he was killed. You can see on the slide. This is the 15th century depiction of Tarquin crowd. The end of the Roman monarchy is presented in our sources as an episode in the dramatic saga of the family of the Tarquin. It may be useful to summarize the main outlines of this famous story, which thou immortalized in Lewis's prose and verses of Shakespeare may not be considered too eloquent. According to the story, Tarquin's Tarquinius Pepys was overthrown in 509 BC by a group of aristocrats who set up the republican government under two elected annual magistrates reformers. The incident that prompted the coup was the raid of Lutetia by Sextus Tarquinius, the youngest son. The virtue of Lutetia killed herself, and the outrage provoked by this tragedy led to an uprising against the royal family. Curiously enough, the leaders of the rebels were themselves close relatives of the trio. They included Junius Brutus, the king's nephew, and Tarquinius Paulus, the cousin and husband of the unfortunate Lucretia. Her father, Jesus, was also in the plot, along with an influential friend, Valerius Agrippa. The king was conducting a war against Ardea, passing back to Rome on hearing news of the Pope, was found against bear against him. Meanwhile, the leader of the revolt went to Ardea and won over the army, which expelled the king's sons. Brutus and Papinius Paullinus became the first conquerors, and Brutus made the people swear never again to tolerate the king and to punish it with death and not to try to restore the monarchy. He then proposed that all members of the Tarquin clan should be banished. He himself escaped the effects of this measure because he was related to Tarquin with his mother. By historic, Paullinus was a member of the gens and consequently had to resign his office in the city. His place as the consul was taken by Valerius Agrippa. So now, I don't know if you can't see. So I will read it for you. Maybe some people in the two first wrote for that one. English translation, maybe it will be more helpful. I'll read it for you. So this is the dream of Tarquin the Proud. Would you dare call Cicero is telling us? Would you dare call the famous dream of Tarquin the Proud a myth? He describes it himself in the following lines from the Brutus of Athens. At night's approach, I sought my quiet coach, who saw my very limbs with restful sleep. Then in my dreams, shut near me a row of fixed hair, whose beauty was extreme. I chose two brothers, brother rams from out the flock, and sacrificed the many of the tree. And then with lowered horns, the other ram attacked and bore me headlong to the ground. Now observe how the diviners interpreted this dream. It is not strange, O king, that dreams reflect day's desires and thoughts, its sights and deeds, and everything we say or do away. But in so grave a dream as yours, though we see, message never stand. And thus it won't be more of him who will be bereft quick and wait no higher than it will be granted. As he, with wisdom armed, should rise to fame and drive you from your throne, the sun's changed course. Now we are now in the 20th, 19th, 20th, and 21st century. Dream is pure mystery of human and not just human condition, but we know that our past are also dreams. Although it has been studied experimentally for more than a century. The neurophysiological correlates to dreams are still unclear, and many questions remain unresolved. Would the representation that comes to the dream emerge randomly from the brain, or would they surface according to certain parameters? Is the organization of the dream's representation chaotic, or is it determined by rules? We still do not know when it happens during the night, how long it lasts, whether we can recall its entire content, or how to control it. Nonetheless, scientific research has managed to produce considerable information about the phenomenology and physiology of dreaming, and has improved our understanding of this fascinating phenomenon. Dreaming was first investigated on an experimental level in the 19th century. Hawkins published the first statistical results about dreaming and argued that some aspects of dream content could be quantified. Later, fractionaries that automatic analysis of graphical content of dream reports allowed reporters to show the dream content is some despite phenomenological characteristics. According to psychological studies, visual imagery occurs more frequently in dreams than imagery of other senses, touch, taste, and others. The dream drama is mostly lived by the dreamer from a first-person perspective. Some elements of real-life events previously experienced by the dreamer often contribute to the spinning of the dream. Most often, the dream sequence is not within the dreamer's voluntary control. The dreamer may be convinced during the dream that the dream story is real. The dream report is often full of people interacting with each other, discussions, fights, disputes, and so on. The current concerns of the subject may also be found in the context of field surgeries, and many aspects of the subject's daily life were found to influence their content, including new events, musical practice, religious beliefs, chronic pain, mood, and so on. In conclusion, results from experimental psychology allows us to better understand the phenomenon of dreaming. Still, what are the current hypotheses about dream function? These are some. First hypothesis that there is no function. At the end of the 20th century, neurologists have a function proposed theory that describes dreaming for any function. Because things are so difficult to remember, is that it seems unlikely that attention to their content would perform much in the way of high-priority survival value. Okay. Next is psychological individualism. Dreams speculated the dreams could be involved in psychological individualism and instability of the dreamer's personality. Dreams hypothesis is a paradoxical state restored neuronal therapy that was modified during the day to preserve the expression of the genetic program that calls for psychological physics. Okay? The third, the threat simulation theory. The Finnish psychologist Antti Monsuo proposed a hypothesis called threat simulation theory, which explains the fearful characteristics of dream content. According to this theory, dreams serve as virtual training places to improve threat avoidance or threat fighting ability. Next is emotional regulation. Cartwright's theory suggests that dreaming may actually moderate mood overnight in normal subjects. The theory strengthened this hypothesis by showing that among subjects who were depressed because of the wars, those who reported more negative dreams at the beginning of sleep and fewer at the night's end were more likely to be in remission 1 year later than the subjects who had fewer negative dreams at the beginning and more at the end of the night. Memory consolidation, finally, the current mainstream hypothesis in cognitive neuroscience spreads sleep and dreaming with a role in memory consolidation. Is there hypothesis contradicting the future? Some kind of hypothesis, not hypothesis, but some results going in that way. According to the review published in 2019, there have been 4 experiments of cognitive dreaming that have done a decent job of preventing research fraud. In each of these, participants were told they would be seeing an image the next day and were asked to try and dream about what it would be. In the morning, they wrote a report about what they dreamed. After they made the report, the image was selected from a few different possibilities, the random number generator. Finally, judges who didn't know which target had been selected saw all the possible targets and made a judgment about which target was most similar to the dream report. 3 of those 4 experiments, the results which indicated the dreamers were able to predict the target. If these results are true, it means that there is a direct interaction between each human mind and the rest of the world, which is scary. So, the conclusion, and this. We take a look again at the premonitory dream of darkening the crowd. I will tell you. So, yes, it's small, but right. For remember what I said, we could say that at the premonitory dream, starting the crowd, we can easily conclude that the dream content with some elements which are observed in experimental psychology, such as visual imagery, a first-person perspective, and the dream sequence is not within the dream controller control. So Darwin's account of the dream, legendary or not, experienced with magic more than 2 million years ago, is pretty much similar to something that some of us, or better some of our politicians, might have. Moreover, when we compare modern hypotheses about the dream function with the ancient interpretation of the dream starting the crowd, we can see that the ancient interpreters mentioned something that could be related to theories from experimental psychology, such as the threat simulation theory and emotional regulation. And finally, we can conclude that the dream part is proud, and this interpretation would be related to research between quantum inductions in experimental psychology, and the modern scientific research still has a limited understanding of dreaming, and therefore differences from ancient interpretations are not as great as one might expect.
Thank you. So we have time for like one sort of
Thank you for presenting fascinating topic that I've been working on recently, and I would like to ask you: is there any semantics related to dreams in Latin? I mean, the ways how different authors express the visions, like reading, what color language do they use, and is there any theoretical manual, like for example, Meiophysica by Latin would be in Latin written this one? Thank you very much. Thank you.
We are now talking about verses, and verses are from the first century BC, which was on our slide. So we can't talk about terminology at that moment in the Roman history, but of course later, when some other things happened, like Caesar's vocabulary and accommodation to philosophical and other discourses, then it was possible. But in this period, it was not possible, and because of that, I was amazed when I saw that passage, because it is written, it is said by normal common words, but the ideas are pretty much like ours. So that was my idea to show that. But about technology, I'm not doing it still now, but you may say something about that if you're in that topic now. Are you working on it?
Not really. I've been writing on evidentiality. Thank you. I've been writing a paper on evidentiality in Latin visions, especially in the Old Testament, in Joe's translation, and there is a fantastic research on the topic how we can express different ideas, like by the word, by the particle "ecce," for example, we can introduce a vision, dream, which gives you credibility that the dreamer has really seen something which has been given by a supernatural force to him. So this kind of things I'm interested in. So maybe we can exchange later on.
You're much better expert than me, so
thank you very much from you. No, it's just mutual. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. For lunch break. This is Professor Andres, the Faculty of Philology, University of Belgrade, in the title of the talk is on the use of the terms superstition, critique, and substitution.
I have to say that that short one.
Ovdje morate to upriti. Znači gađate samo ovaj ovdje i on će kod mene.
I have to say that it's just a short concept of my research, and I discussed about this topic in much more detail in my written pattern. And
I start my presentation with the definition, which can be done, yeah, which we can find in the Oxford Dictionary. That the word superstition is relative, and I think that's relative, for it may be taken to mean indulgence, beliefs, or practices which have been abandoned by general or at least by educated opinion of the time. We can say that this term has complicated history, and such ancient authors that the concept of superstition was good. And it believes that this was the first one that designated this term as the negative character. And he was also the first author to define the reputation, to define the fear of the supernatural. They that definition. There is in the program. I will not discuss now about the etymology of this word. Today's definition is not as widespread as it once was, but it still exists, especially among the Baptists. We can say that superstition has changed its essence and role within the human community of time. And it appears in ancient times with the original ideas of people about nature phenomena that surround them. It's generally known that the Greek term daimonia, like superstition, had both positive and negative meaning among ancient authors. One of them, who considered superstition as a negative phenomenon, was Philip. So, in our paper, we explore some aspects of the use of this term in this world as perhaps the most interesting use of the term superstition we can find in the third book of Interior Institution, where he expresses his anti-Jewish attitude, considering the Jewish religion as superstition, the diagram superstition. Moreover, he refers to Cicero, who in his speech to Flaco characterizes the religion as a variant superstition, barbaric superstition. And in this speech, delivered in 59 BC, Cicero's need to defend his claim against the charge of embezzlement called destiny for the temple in Jerusalem, where he dismissed Judaism as a mere superstition, to present Jewish ancestral race as the core of the movements, and to caricature the Jews themselves as a ritual barbarians. Yes, one. Actually, not this translation. And God, under pretense of being in the Jews, was the test back here exported out of Italy and all the provinces to Jerusalem. That was issued an edict establishing law should not be local for exporting out of religion. And now there are judges who cannot honestly correctly measure. The opponents can often decide, and I was also the king to move some resolution that brought out to be exported. But to resist this barbarous superstition, and we take out and barbarous on it, when positivity to despise the look of the Jews, which I find was most unrelated to the activism in defense of the interests of the Republic, was an act of the greatest faith. If not, the points were considered the Jewish nation as concealed. This nation is nation for others. And Jews are senders. In this chapter, the chapter began with a situation in which people can be raised or learned.
If that states the successful children reflect below their parents, something very founders lost on the man later, etc. A few months later, material deals with regards to creations. Among others, he mentions the man responsible for wrongdoings great statutes for their own talents and the financial discrimination those they wanted to be the best. So let's say in this class case, he was the example of the village. Why do the children bring patients from their parents? Founders of parents are prohibited are detected for concentrating the rate which is good. Rather, as for example, the founder of the village university. It is clear that it is activity mentioned in the movement. That it will be more now with the young subjects. With the definite knowledge that there is a path towards the church nation has been discovered for that knowledge. And namely, about 50 years prior, the Jews who worked in the north and they looked. The that the guy considered the skill, making and reverse the contact for the Jewish religion. As well for all others that he classified as the alien. The statement considered one to emphasize the will of the Jews to leave aside from others and not accept the others because of the existence. And this expression, initial mission for others, implies that they were fulfilled plural and probably is no example. And it includes the mission continues to stand during the beginning of the sexual age, as it is either gratitude or criminal. According to this tradition, Jews are anti-Lord man who refuse to follow the laws and also the Muslims rules of hospitality toward the human being, respecting Jewish laws on it. Quindi non volevo fare questo bello non coordinare la variation of this allusion to Jewish and Judaism. And actually that is the kind of version because they have found that is about the Jewish statement about the Jewish and Judaism. In my children as not well known and was a rule, we can detect the influence of Judaism. The Jewish social religious customs are dignity of his life, in which we go in the spiritual man, the streets, characters of Jews and representatives. We find given us the evidence in Marx, both in the law, we can detect the influence and the of influence. For example, the volume laws of communist Frankfurt was the case, a mortgage normally regularly used in the context of Jewish bosses and state materials. Never movement established did not like their friends, the growing tribe of the separate forms are granted out to the Jews, for it is still 90 fasts. If the growth is being ordered to pay the nation rents, the use is for the rejected and jailed family. In the particular part of the big book, Tacitus gives the visitors a glorification of the Judea, the capital Jerusalem, and the analysis of the military political position and the beginning of time. According to some recent authors, he takes the good example of the fact that in the century and what the church began to be carried down and laid in the church in the church. This is our opinions or statement of the reading the authors who talk about it and as I said, it's one context. very complicated question. And I have another vision about it on this topic. However, introduced from that. Before, however, introduced is helped by taking people. All the arguments related to it are at once developed and rejected. All these things, today they are banned. The most great out of the reason, from the natural value, no them the contribution and that. This argument, rather than Jews, has also been the fact that among themselves, they are reflexively honest and every ready to share compassion. But they enjoy the rest of mankind before the ages of hands. And the second one plays in the he mentioned the introduction is in relevance with this work. When he presents his view of the practice and violence of the truth, the record must be spectral, and the statement of the future man understand the artistry we are born. There's one thing the speaker has first before is paying better attention to learning more character. This is how he goes to bring the picture, to bring a feel of the immortal love, to give by God, and not the one that our own effort. So, the one of the most important things for one more than brain man is being superstition. And that's then that a lot know what activity is, when habitually activities or blame, it is now approach with those of years of being that into position. And finally, the death rate internationalized in Victoria, is able to the where Nigerians discuss about our faith investment and then discuss about the area. It really emphasizes the key needs of completely distinction between religion and superstition. It's not give any information so on it. You feel that is Lauren feel the right and this is the there's also called which later passes by the calibration, which is person can receive and superstition of now. And you cannot analyze the sense of superstition of the systematic with the parents' work. We can conclude correct. Superstition is remaining complexity. There is also complexity to be correct in the validation of the meaning of society. The correct understanding of this damage that is only large and analysis of the meaning of the outlook, but it's also quite related to that. Intention of the intentional and historical forms. In there's ambiguity in its use, where this term has a cultural background, when this author wants to retain the Jewish and their religion, or ethically one, when he discusses about the moral qualities of the God.
I would like to address I don't know, I don't know if I'm comfortable with it and the context, but I want to ask if you would agree with this, let's say, summary. Is the case of, let's say, keeping of. Is this a case in which author keeps the, let's say, descriptive part of the definition, while shifting or transforming the value later part of the meaning of the term?
Of this term.
Yeah.
I think that he used it's this term as one part of his language, and that he didn't discuss about the essence of the field, but it is a part of his accommodation. I mean,
I get that. In those cases, it's really easy to, let's say, somehow import values exactly in those cases, and one does not try to explicitly define the essence or give any kind of precise definition, but just you use it implicitly and then go into, yeah.
That definition, and also it's interesting there to see when you compare the literature of those how they use these things. And I think that we can better with the remarks we can better understand not only the use but the technique and the transformation of the meaning of this term in the history.
Yes, fine. Oh my God. So how many times and we have time until 3 o'clock. We will be back at 3 o'clock. And in the area, you have a lot of restaurants like Watershut, and you get fast food if you want to fast food and enjoy lunch and see you back at 3 o'clock.
That means or explain to people where